How's it going, everyone? Puffmeister here, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be going into detail about another TCG that I've started working on that sort of caught my attention recently. And this isn't part of Monsters from the Other Realm. This is a different game that I've been putting work into. This is actually the game I almost started this channel with, but I figured it wouldn't do as well, and then kind of fell back to the back burner. But today I'm going to be going into it and showing you sort of some rough ideas, just kind of throw them out there and show you what I've begun working on more recently. Move the camera there a little bit. So the theme for this untitled project would be superheroes. And I know Cards at Home had a project involving superheroes for his community project. And that's kind of another reason why I didn't really talk about this at all, is because I felt like I would be seen as copying, even though, as I said, I've had this idea for a little while now. But I figured I'd just kind of go into sort of the ideas I have for the game, sort of different possible card types and how the game might work out, things like that. So I guess I'll start with the card types. So obviously, if you have a game of superheroes, you're going to have superheroes. Now, this is one of my characters I've had created for a while, since I was a little kid. And ignore the totally not Monsters from the Other Realm in the background. Don't worry about those. But yeah, Harvey, he's a he doesn't have any superpowers, but he liked them so much he created a jetpack for himself so he could kind of fly. And there's some lore behind that I'm not really going to get into, but yeah, your main sort of cards would be superheroes. And as you can see, there's his name, Amateur Engineer, and as you see up here, he has a cost, and I'll get into that a little bit. There's also a little electricity, +1, I'll get into that a little bit later. Human Flying Engineer Hero, these are his attributes, and every hero would have some sort of attributes, which is not really anything new, but they are used a little bit in this game. What is on there? Anyway, and of course, he has an ability. He has power and health, and a little lore or quote or whatever. So yeah, there's your hero. Of course, you can't have a hero without villains, and you would also have villains in this game. And, rat, animalistic, villain, grunt, 1 cost, +1 ability, all that good stuff. Very similar, but how you can utilize them does differ depending on one type of card in the game, which I will get into in a little bit. So as you can see on hero cards, you have this cost right up here, which is a little logo which stands for, where's the card here? There we go. City, which as you can see, or metropolis, whatever I'm going to call it, I'm not sure. It's a city. And as you can see, it's a city. You would play this like you would play land in Magic, although it's a bit different. And the idea I actually have for land in this game, to kind of go on a slight tangent, would be to have it in the way, what's the game called? Force of Will does it? Where they have land or energy or whatever in a separate deck for your main deck. So you just, you have this going. And the way I kind of want the game to be set up is to sort of, you create your playing field while you're playing, and you can also level up your lands so they're more powerful and have better abilities. So, say for example, you have your land deck or location, whatever you want to call it, deck here. At the start of every turn, you would lay one out, and it would generate, your mana or whatever you're going to call it, your cost for you. So if you had one, you play it, and then you could play a rat grunt here. And every location would sort of be an area you could place a card, up to 5, I want to say. So if you had a location here, then you could be able to play cards here. That would untap and everything. Not untap, that's a legal term. That's trademarked, copyrighted, and do not steal. You'll be able to play this, and then if you want to play, the second card, your second turn, you'd pull one off the top of your deck, you'd play it here. Another city. So you'd say you already have your rat grunt here, then you could exhaust these or use them. And then you'd be able to play your Harvey, who costs 2 cities. You could play him here, etc., etc. Now, the idea would be as well, if you can only have up to 5, what are you going to do with the rest of your location cards. Well, you'd be able to level them up, and what I mean by that is you'd be able to place them here or maybe underneath, and then they would gain special abilities based on their level. Now, I'm not sure what the max level would be, but you know, level 1, level 4, they get extra abilities for cards played at these locations. So if you sort of tapped this location, not tapped, used it, I'll just say use, then that would count for 2, so you could save a location for later, or whatever you want to do. That's the basic idea for leveling up and having a resource in this game. So that is how you'd play a decent majority of your cards. Now, I suppose on the same topic of locations, you would be able to sort of interrupt and hurt your opponent with, well, what do superheroes do? They foil villains, and what do villains do? They create problems and perils and catastrophes and all that good stuff. So you'll be able to play sort of events, I guess, or peril cards, whatever you want to call them. So if you had, controlled 2 cities, you would be able to play a bank robbery, and you would be able to play this on an opposing location, and they would have a negative effect on them. And this would stay in play until your opponent would be able to meet this threshold of power. So as you can see, Harvey here, he has 150. So if he was to be played to this by the opponent, he would only meet half of that. You would have to find some other way to meet that threshold. And the difference would be here is that heroes, which as you can see he's a hero, can attack perils or events and defeat them, whereas a villain could be played on here by the person who played the event to buff them up. So as you can see, the rat grunt could be played to the event, and you'd have to get through the rat grunt before you could foil the bank robbery. That's the basic idea I have anyway. So I don't have a lot of room here. So let's say your opponent has a city here, and you have 2 cities right over here. You could use them. You could play the bank robbery on here. Then you could also play the rat grunt. Then your opponent could try to defeat the rat grunt with their heroes and such. So that's the basic gist of that. And I'm not entirely sure how that would work into sort of the victory conditions, which I haven't really figured out yet. I'm thinking either maybe just generic, gather points, or maybe sort of meet a certain threshold or something else. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm not done with the card types yet either. So as you can see with the attributes here and the energy, at the beginning of every turn, every unit in the game will be able to generate some energy. Now most heroes would probably gain 1 energy, and I'm not sure if certain heroes will be able to generate more than 1 or maybe 3 or something, but these are used to play. Energy can be used to move to a different location and such. At least that's the plan. As I said, this is all very beta, tentative, work in progress type deal. But you would also be able to play these technique cards. And this is sort of like, what's the game called? It's like a game where you have you have a move card where a unit or character can use an ability. Sort of like, I think Dicemania from Mind Flayer games. I believe that's kind of similar. But say for example, so for the technique card here, it would cost 1 energy, so you need to consume an energy from a unit. And you would also need, as you can see here, technique flying. So it just so happens here, Harvey has flying, so he'll be able to utilize this technique, which is when moving a unit to another location, deal 100 damage to the unit in any other units at the location. So this works well in tandem with Harvey, because he can fly in to be directly played to a location under certain circumstances, at least right now anyway. And that's sort of the main unique things, are the events and the technique cards. I feel like those are somewhat unique, kind of, sort of. And last but not least, we kind of have just regular item and effect cards. Just sort of extra stuff to spruce up your deck. They would cost locations, and super serum, target gains plus 200 strength and is counted as a super until the end of your turn. So Harvey, you can give him an extra 200, and he's counted as a superhero instead of just a regular hero. So things like that. And as I said, I'm still working out a lot of the details, but those are sort of the basic concepts that I've been working with. And yeah, as you can see, I've cut index cards in half and I've been drawing on them. So hopefully I'll be able to do some actual playtesting relatively soon once I get more ideas out and I make more cards. But yeah, that is what I've been working on. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And can't think of anything else to say, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.